Learn everything tech, startup building, and personal productivity.
Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Chris Awoke and I'm so excited to have you here. Today's video is a complete guide to Jupyter Notebook for beginners. In this video, we will explore one of the most powerful tools for interactive computing and data analysis in Python. We're going to cover everything you need to know about the Jupyter Notebook so you can get started. Whether you are getting started in programming in Python or you want to enhance your Python skills, understanding the Jupyter Notebook is essential for code efficiency and for collaboration. So without further ado, let's get started. One of the first questions to answer would be, what is the Jupyter Notebook? The Jupyter Notebook is a popular tool for creating and sharing documents that contain live codes, equations, visualizations, and narrative text. So basically, Jupyter Notebook is an IDE, which stands for Integrated Development Environment. It is more like an area where you write code, just like we have MS Word for writing text. An IDE is an environment for writing code rather than text. But one unique thing about Jupyter Notebook as an IDE against other IDEs like the Visual Studio Code, Atom, Sublime Text, Notepad++, and others, it's that the Jupyter Notebook is very interactive and it makes provision for you to have live code, equations, charts, that's visualizations, and even text that narrates what you are doing. Jupyter is a loose acronym that stands for Julia, Python, and R programming. These are all programming languages most relevant in statistical analysis, data science, scientific computing, and numerical computing. And so Jupyter Notebook is most ideal for these programming languages, especially Python. I've been working with Python and Jupyter Notebook, and I can tell that for all the IDEs I know, Jupyter Notebook is the most ideal for Python programming language. Like I've said, Jupyter Notebook has an interactive computing environment that offers you the opportunity to experiment and as well share your codes with other developers. So in this tutorial, I'm going to guide you on how you can install the Jupyter Notebook in your PC, as well as how you can get it running, that is launching the Jupyter Notebook, and also show you how you can create your own notebook and other things you need to know about Jupyter Notebook. This is a comprehensive course, so I want you to follow me to the end, and at every step, if you have questions, you can drop it in the comment section and I will respond to you as quickly as I can. Now, let me show you how to set up the Jupyter Notebook in your PC. Before we do that, I need to tell you that the Jupyter Notebook is a web-based application. In other words, Jupyter runs on your browser. It doesn't run from your system. It runs on your browser. And for you to have access to Jupyter Notebook, you have to install a software called Anaconda. Anaconda is a software for data science and for everything data analysis. So we're going to install Anaconda, and within Anaconda we will have access to the Jupyter Notebook as well as other features. But in this tutorial, we are focusing on the Jupyter Notebooks. So now let me show you how to install Anaconda in your PC. So to install Anaconda in your PC, all you need to do is to go to this website, anaconda/distribution. So go to anaconda/distribution first. And when you get to this website, you'll see free download here. So click on free download. Now, what this platform does is it will auto-detect the operating system you are using. For me, I'm using Windows, and it has auto-detected I'm using Windows. So I can now click on downloads, and the software will be downloaded into my PC. And all I would need to do is to follow the installation process. Now, if you are using Mac, just click on this icon and you can download Mac. If you are using Linux, you click on this and you can download Linux here. For me, I'm using Windows. I'm not going to download this in this tutorial because I've done that before, and I've also installed Anaconda. So all you need to do is click on this, download it into your PC, follow the installation process that is very simple and seamless, and then you will have Anaconda installed in your PC. Thereafter, we can launch our Jupyter Notebook. So now, if you have done everything right, you should have Anaconda installed in your PC. Let's do a quick check to be sure that Jupyter Notebook is installed in our PC. I'm going to go to my search box here and I will type Anaconda. Now, just by attempting to type Anaconda, I'm getting all of these best matches. Anaconda prompt, which means Anaconda is already installed in my PC, Anaconda Navigator, and Anaconda PowerShell. Other things that are installed alongside all of this is the Jupyter Notebook as well as other softwares, okay? So to launch the Jupyter Notebook, there are several ways you can do that. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you those ways, and one of it is to go to your search box and type Jupyter, right? And you're going to see Jupyter showing in your system. You can click on it, and when you do so, it's going to open. So this will open up. Yours may be larger than mine, so kindly wait for it as it launches. As soon as it launches, it will redirect you to your web browser and you can start working on it. So now Jupyter is opened, okay, and you can see it is opened at localhost 8888/3. 3 is the root directory. Now I actually opened mine in the root directory. I'm going to show you that, and these are all the folders you have. This place is where we call the Jupyter dashboard. Okay, I'm going to explain more on this in a few minutes. Okay, so this is just one way for you to launch the Jupyter Notebook. There are other ways you can do so, and so let me close that down and show you. So another way for you to launch the Jupyter would be to use the Anaconda prompt and click on Anaconda. All right, Anaconda prompt. So the first thing I would rather do is to check the version of Python that came with this Anaconda. So I can check for the version of the current version of the Python that came with it. So I'm going to type Python, then space. All right, so I'm going to hit enter. So this is the current version in the Anaconda Python 3.11.5. I think currently in the official Python website, it is Python 3.12.5 or so, right? So you can check that up, but this is still a good version. I believe that over time, Anaconda is going to upgrade to the latest version. That said, now that we've checked that, we can launch our Jupyter using this approach I want to show you now. But first of all, take note of this location. So this is where it is going to open. It's going to open in the root directory users/admin. So if I type Jupyter space notebook, so I'm going to launch it like this. So what you saw before will also be opened. So as soon as it's done launching, we are going to be redirected to the web page. So there you have it. Jupyter is launched, and this is exactly what we've seen previously. Now, another way to launch Jupyter would be to launch the Jupyter Notebook in the particular directory that you want, okay? So now I can decide to open the Jupyter Notebook in my desktop, and I will still use the command prompt. So I will say Anaconda prompt. So what I'll do is cd, that is change directory. This one of the commands in CLI. So cd, then desktop, and it takes me to desktop. So you can see I'm now in the desktop, so I can run Jupyter Notebook, right? So Jupyter Notebook will be launched, but the root directory will be my desktop. So wait for it to redirect us. So there you go. We have Jupyter Notebook launched now, and you can see that the notebook is empty. So these are just the several ways you can launch your Jupyter Notebook. So let's now explore the Jupyter dashboard. Like I said before, we have the Jupyter. So if you click on it, it will only refresh the page. Opposite to that, we have quit for quitting the Jupyter Notebook, logging out, log out for logging out. And we have 3 tabs here. The files tab that will show all the files you have. That's the files and folders you have here in this particular directory. If it was in the root directory, you saw we had files there. So if you open yours in the root directory, you're going to see all of the files you have in that particular directory. So we have no files here, so that's why it's empty. For running shows the terminals that are running and the notebooks that are running. Cluster is something I wouldn't really want you to bother about, so I'm not even going to say much about it or say what it's all about. You can, if you are curious enough, you can actually find out more what the cluster tab does. Okay, so now let's look at a few things. You can use this to upload files to this particular directory. So I can click on something like my downloads and let me find something. Let's say this pandas practice assignment. I can upload it. So now I can click upload and it will be uploaded. So I have it here. You can see last time modified, it was just a few seconds ago. The size is 21.7 kilobytes. Okay, by default your files are arranged in alphabetical orders. Is that clear? If you toggle it up, it's going to be arranged in the reverse order. Okay, now the last modifier is when was the last time a change was made in the file. File size is the size of the file. For new, here it's where we are going to use to create text file. We can use this to create text file, folders, terminal, and this terminal works like the Anaconda prompt that you saw. So if I try to click on terminal, it's going to open and a terminal is open here. You can check for, let's say, the version of your Python that we did before, and you will still find it in this terminal. So you can see we have the same thing. And now if you check running, a terminal is running. Can you see that? So a terminal is running. If a notebook is running, you also see the name of the notebook running. This is the first terminal. That is why you are seeing terminals/1, the first terminal. So let's close it down and move on. You can create folder, and that is what we want to do next. And you can create your notebook. I'm going to show you that in a minute. Okay, so for folder, you click on folder. By default, your folder comes with this ugly name called untitled folder. So let me show you how you can rename your folder. To rename your folder, kindly click on this checkbox, and you can see as soon as you do so, you can see rename, move, and delete. So let's click on rename, and let's call this Jupyter Notebook tutorial. Jupyter Notebook tutorial, right? So we can click on rename and we get it renamed. So this is your folder. I can click on this, and now let me show you how to create a notebook. To create a notebook, click on new and Python 3 IPY kernel, right? So you click on it and a new notebook will be created. Now note that as soon as you clicked, this is the root directory. So notice that as soon as you open the folder you created, you have seen the root directory / the folder name that you've just created. Now this is the new notebook that we've created. So this is the new notebook. This is how it looks. Just be patient. I will explain all you need to know about this. Now, the first thing I usually do when I create a new notebook is to rename my notebook. By default, it comes with this name, untitled. So you can rename it so many ways. You can click on it. Just click on untitled and this will pop up and you can rename it to, let's say, Python Basics, right? And rename. So now the name of this is Python Basics. If you check back, it is now Python Basics. Now, if you click on running, you can see a new notebook is running. That is Python Basics. Do you understand? So now let's look at this notebook. So I've shown you how to create a folder. I've also shown you how to create a new notebook. You can use the same approach to create. Like if you go to the root directory and you want to create a new notebook, just click on this place, Python 3, and this will be created in the root directory. So I can decide to name this Python Python for beginners, right? So when I rename it and I check back here, you can see the Python for beginners, it is running. Now, if I click on running, you can see 2 notebooks are running, 1 and 2. So I can close down this, and yeah, so I've closed it down. So I have this running now. So now let's explore the notebook we've created, and any notebook you create will always come by default like this. Now, this is a cell. This is called a cell. All right, so let's explore all of what we have here. First, you have the name, which will always load to the home page. Is that okay? So we can go back, and this is the name for our notebook. Last checkpoint, it's about last time you did something on it. 4 minutes ago, we created it. Another thing is your notebook automatically saves as you are working on it. So, and that's very interesting. Okay, you can also log out from this notebook and you can't work on it again. We have various tabs. We have the File tab, the Edit tab, the View tab, the Insert tab, the Cell tab, the Kernel tab, the Widget tab, and the Help tab. Okay, Not Trusted tab. You don't really need to bother about this. And then this shows you it is Python 3. All right. Then for the Files tab, we have all of this drop down. You can from here create a new notebook. You can open an existing notebook. You can make a copy. You can save as. That is, you don't necessarily sometimes have to wait for your notebook to auto save. So it's good that sometimes you save by yourself. You can rename. You can save and check out. Okay. So now it has been saved. Okay. That's why the time changed. I just saved it a second ago. You can revert to changes, like if you have made changes like yesterday and now you just discovered something is not working well, you can just revert to that change and that will be done. Okay. Now, so you have the preview tab and the download. You can actually download your notebook as all of these options here. Okay, and the trusted notebook, you can check it out. The close and hot to close this notebook. Okay, now for the edit tab, we have this. You can, with X, you can cut, that is to move cells. You can copy cells. These are the shortcuts. You can paste above, paste below, paste cells and replace them. You can delete with double D, that DD. I'm going to show you. You can undo deletes. You can split cells. You can merge cells above, cells that are above. You can merge cells with other cells below. You can move cells up by using the clicking on this. And you can edit the notebook metadata. Then we have the View tab. In the View tab, we have the toggle head. If I toggle it, that heading you had before will be off. And if you toggle it back, it will bring it back. Toggle toolbar, you can see the toolbar is off. If you toggle it back, it's back, right? So you can toggle line and even do all of this stuff. I'm not going to, work on this now. Then for the insert, you can use this to insert cell above and below. For the cells, you can use all of this command. Control Enter to run each cell. Shift Enter to run the cell and select the cell below. Is that okay? Alt Enter will run the cell and insert something on the cell that is below. You can run all above, all below, and all of what you have here. You can, with this cell type, actually change the different cells. In the next tutorial, I'm going to teach you Markdown. And that's when you are going to appreciate some of these things much better. Now, for the kernel, you can interrupt your cell. Let's say something goes wrong. You can just alter it and take it back, like reset it. So interrupt will help to reset it. Restart will restart the whole of the notebook. Restart and clear, which means if you have something running already in your individual cells, you can use restart and clear all the output. So you can clear everything. It will come just the way it was before you started working on it. with all the data inside of each cells. Is that clear? For restart and rerun, you know what that means. To reconnect means you've logged out and this cell is no longer accessible to you. While you can still do anything, but you can still work with it. You can just reconnect. You can shut down, okay, and you can change your kernel, but there's nothing basically you can do. There are no options here. If it were in the days where you have Python 2 and 3 simultaneously, you can change the kernel to Python 2 or Python 3. For the widget tab, you can save your notebook widget state, clear the notebook widget state. I really wouldn't want you to get so bugged with all of this. And with the help tab, you can find help for many things. Python, IPython, that is the Jupyter Notebook Python, the NumPy, the SciPy, and can even know more about the Jupyter Notebook. So that's all you have. And for this tab, you have two tabs. So you have the save and checkpoint. You have insert below. So this will be inserting the cell. This will move. This will copy. For this one, this will paste. This will move the cell up and this will move the cell below. This will run the cell. For this, you stop the cell running. You can use this to restart or refresh, and from this you can change to all of this. Okay, so now let me give you some example. Let's say we are working on Python operators and we want to say something like 2 plus 2, and we are going to run it. To run, we can either click run here or we hold shift and enter so that the next cell will be selected. I can say control and hit enter and it will run, but it will not select the next cell. But when I say shift and enter, it will run and select the next cell. So let's quickly do that. 2 plus 2 will be 4. So you can see the next cell is selected. 2 plus 2 is 4. I can say 3 minus 1, it's going to be 2. Okay, I can say 100 mod 7. You know what that means? Mod is used for getting the remainder after a division. So 100 divided by 7, what will be the remainder? So if we run it, we're going to have a remainder of 2. Is that clear? So this is basically it. Now we can run, restart and clear, and all the output to be cleared, but the inputs will remain. So we have all the output cleared, but the inputs are still there, so we can still run it again. Okay, so you can add cell below and above. To add a cell above, all you need to do is hit on the A key on your keyboard. It will be adding above. If you want to add below, and now let me also mention that for you, before you can add a cell, you must click out of that cell. Now when you are within a cell, the bar here is green. When you are outside of the cell, the bar is blue. You can see it. Inside is green, outside is blue. Inside is green, outside is blue. So when it turns blue, you can now use, so if I want to add a cell below, I can say B, it will be adding below. If I want to add above, let's say I want to add above this one, I can say A above, it will be adding above. If I want to add above this one, AA. If I want to add below it, you may not notice it, BB, and that's it. All right, so what other thing do I need to explain? Now you can actually write text and also insert images using your Markdown. Let's say I want to write a heading that says Jupyter heading. Okay, so what I'm going to do is to use heading 1, which is like this. So Jupyter heading, right? So now if I run this, nothing happens because this is more like a comment in Python. So for me to have it well displayed, I'm going to go to this place and click Markdown. So as soon as I do that, the color changes, and when I run it, when I either run it here or hold shift and enter, it runs. So you can see this is a text. Okay, I can decide to add more things to it, and if I want to add more things to this same cell, all I need to do is to double click it and I can have access to it. So I can add even a bullet point that says point 1, and I can add another bullet point that says point 2. So if I run it, you can see this is point 1, point 2. Is that clear? I'm not teaching you Markdown in this tutorial. In the subsequent tutorial, I'm going to cover Markdown in Jupyter Notebook and maybe using VS Code as well, so that for those of you that are technical writers or that would just need to know more about the interactive nature of Jupyter Notebook, you can as well do that. So I'm going to teach you how to insert images, graphs, just all of those stuff inside Jupyter. So expect that video, but if you are watching this video at a later time, you can just look up above. You should be able to find the video. That said, we've come to the end of this video. If you have any question, kindly drop them in the comment section. I'll do my best to respond to you as quickly as possible. So if you're just landing on this channel for the first time, please kindly do well to subscribe to the channel, and I'll be glad to see you in the next video.